The number of women behind bars has risen dramatically in the U.S. over the last 4 decades, and many of those women are survivors of domestic violence. Tonight, Amna Nawaz and producer Lena Jackson examined that connection and the scars that remain for many. It's part of our ongoing series, Searching for Justice.
I was afraid. And, you know, after so many years of conditioning, you just don't do. I didn't sing, I didn't laugh, I didn't whistle, because it was forbidden.
For more than 8 years, Rosemary Dyer says she was relentlessly and brutally abused by her husband.
I wasn't allowed to talk with my husband. Speak when spoken to.
What would happen if you did speak?
Oh, I got beaten.
After another violent episode in 1985, Dyer says she feared for her life. She fought back and ended up shooting and killing her husband.
I am extremely sorry that my life came to that I had to take his life, because he had been the love of my life.
At 33, she was sentenced to life in prison, served 34 years, and was released in 2020 when her sentence was commuted. At the age of 69, Dyer is now free. But 3 decades in prison did little to address the trauma of the abuse that put her there.
I didn't know that there were battered women. I didn't know that there was a term for it. I didn't know that other women were being treated like this. I thought it was just me.
Dyer's story is one of many. According to the National Resource Center on Domestic Violence, an estimated 70 to 80% of incarcerated women are survivors of domestic violence. And experts say very few services exist for these women in prison or when they're released.
God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference.
This program is one of a few. Part of a network called A New Way of Life, it offers subsidized housing, legal help, and therapy. 60 women live in 10 different homes across Los Angeles County. All are formerly incarcerated. Many are survivors of domestic violence. It's a safe place for survivors like 33-year-old Vanessa Soto to come after incarceration and a chance to heal.
I've been through a lot in my life, you know what I mean? But one thing I can tell you, I am a good mother, and I'm a proud mother of 6.
Soto has been here 7 months. For 7 years before that, she struggled with an addiction to crystal meth, cycling in and out of prison for drug and theft-related charges. Here, Soto says she has the support she needs to get her life back on track. She's found a job and now has legal support to try to regain custody of her children.
And I love my kids. I do. And I'm determined to get my kids back.
Experts say the kind of services provided here are rare but badly needed. Women not only make up the fastest growing segment of the U.S. prison population, but the vast majority of them report having suffered some kind of abuse, either as children or adults.
These are women who are really struggling just to survive, and survive through these, different experiences, different abuses.
Susan Burton founded A New Way of Life in 1998. She knows the struggles of these women because she's lived them. After her 5-year-old son was run over and killed by a police car, she says she started drinking heavily and began using crack cocaine. She went to prison on drug charges before turning her life around. Burton says poor women of color are especially vulnerable. In fact, more than 40% of Black women experience physical violence by an intimate partner, compared with about 30% of women overall.
Their experiences of coping with abuse, coping with trauma, coping with ill treatment is criminalized. It would be so much more effective to support people to recover from abuse, to learn how to navigate around abuse, to support them to live full and hopeful and satisfying lives.
I know you've been having some struggles with some issues in your family.
Social worker Renee Wyatt meets with every single resident here.
When you finally have a chance to sit down with them one-on-one, How many of them have ever had a therapy session, been able to talk to someone like you before?
Oh, man.
Very few?
Very few. Because a lot of the ladies that we have weren't safe. They've been molested, they've been trafficked, they've been homeless, they've been beat up, they've been everything.
Many struggle with depression, anxiety, and PTSD from their abuse. For Wyatt, it's familiar ground.
I was a heroin addict, and I'm a domestic violence survivor. I was homeless on downtown LA on Skid Row for 15 years. So I know. So my passion is real. I really, really want to help.
Every time you tell it.
In fact, most of the staff here have walked similar paths. Ingrid Archie was abused as a child. As an adult, she fled an abusive relationship, taking her baby with her.
So trauma on top of postpartum depression. And, you know, I made the mistake of leaving my child in the car because I couldn't take her in the store because it was too overwhelming. You know, I had been asking for help and it seems like I wasn't getting it. And the response was to remove all of my children and to, you know, punish me by incarceration.
Archie first served time for a drug charge, later for shoplifting and child endangerment, then landed here when released in 2015.
A new way of life was like, we're not gonna let the system do this to you.
Dear God, thank you for this food we're about to receive.
The organization helped Archie to get her kids back. She now lives with her fiancé and 2 youngest children. She worked in advocacy for a new way of life for 5 years, and just this month, she left the organization for a new opportunity.
When you're around people who have been through some of the same things and you've overcome it, it allows for healing much easier. It allows for you to not feel so much as a victim. It allows you to take accountability, and it allows for you to move forward in your life and make better decisions and then go pull in other people.
Ooh, toys? See some toys?
But re-entry programs like this are the exception, and more are needed, says UCLA professor Georgia Leap. Studies show roughly a third of formerly incarcerated women return to prison within 3 years of their release. Leap's upcoming book, Entry Lessons, examines the experiences of women released from prison.
The best programs give women a sense of community, that they're not alone, that there are others who've been victims of sexual abuse, victims of domestic violence, that other women know and understand what they've gone through, and they support one another.
And without those services, what could happen?
If they don't have a home to go to, they often go back to the home of the perpetrator. The domestic violence starts again. The self-medication starts again. The criminalization of trauma starts again. And it is a revolving door.
Hi.
Rosemary Dyer is ready to move on with the help of another program, 5 Keys Home Free, for women like her. She's now in free transitional housing near San Francisco.
What kind of a difference does it make having a place like this?
I can breathe. I can lay my head down on the bed and sleep. I am proud of my freedom.
For the PBS NewsHour, I'm Amna Nawaz.
So moving, these extraordinary women. And tomorrow we will conclude our week-long Searching for Justice series with a look at one man's efforts to rebuild his life after being wrongly imprisoned for more than 2 decades.